one of those videos you have to watch, and it was like man disappears after being catfished.
Mm-hmm.
Look, let me tell you, online dating people, it's real out there.
It's public.
You really should, like, just because you're a man don't mean you can't be taken. Okay, that was a whole
Oh,
movie.
definitely can.
You could be taken. Okay, and
Don't
taken and taken and
underestimate.
taken and taken and taken again if you ain't careful. Anyway, this is us. Point blank period. We're trying it again. Second time to charm. Let's
Third
do it.
time I'm out.
Yeah, third. No, we're doing it. I got you. I got me. We good. I'm gonna put up the. My brother-in-law created a logo for me, so I'm gonna put that up. I have the still shot of it because I ain't fancy enough to figure out how to do the video, but we got the still shot. I love it. So, in a nutshell, this video is supposed to be about something totally different. But let me introduce my sister first. This is my sister Katrina. Katrina, say hello.
Hi.
She's my baby sister. She's very, very engaged. She's about to get married, but we still talk. I mean, women discussion, women things. It doesn't matter where you fall on the spectrum. Everybody has an opinion about it. And everybody has educated information that they can share. So it is what it is. I didn't expect my first topic to be about men because I really didn't want to go there, but we were on this video from the Black Male podcast my brother does with his co-host, and it was real flagrant. I ain't gonna go into great detail. We're just gonna give the highlights. It was supposed to be a video about single Black men finding single Black women, and it just didn't go that way at all. It ended up being you know what's wrong with a Black woman? And another thing, and another thing, and another thing, and another thing.
They breathe too much.
Huh?
They breathe too much. They
They don't breathe enough. Like that's how I felt. Like they literally went from they need to if they're gonna be housewives and clean up the house, to all the way to they think they too much because they got these degrees and they want to be treated like they equal and shit. God forbid they want to be treated like they're equal when they making more money. Like it was crazy. So we ain't gonna talk about them because I do want to talk about. So there was one guy. He was like the most flagrant one, right? My sister knows who he is because she was in the comments trolling too. What made him most flagrant, Katrina?
I like that word you used. That was
flagrant.
Yeah, it's real creative.
Flagrant. He was like, there was some flags on the plate. I was like,
first flag was.
I was throwing them all. I was just throwing sheet after sheet, flag. What made him most flagrant to you?
He had nothing positive to say about Black women. I didn't hear it personally. I started tuning him out after, all the bees and the hoes and, all those type of, I really did start tuning him out. It was more so me started throwing shade.
Yeah. To me, that's what made him flagrant. When he, I honestly had to listen to him again today to hear that he wasn't that flagrant. So I lived in New York for a few years, right?
Mm-hmm.
I always said New Yorkers say fuck you like they say I love you with the same kind of energy. Like they just sound like they're yelling at all time. I love you, yo. What the fuck? I love you. Like I feel like it's an insult. Like that's what it is. So I'm not holding him accountable for that. He just aggressive. But he is aggressive.
Mad aggressive.
Yeah.
Mad aggressive.
Yeah. So I'm not gonna hold him to that, right? And yes, he was talking. He was differentiating between different types of females. How did you feel about that? Because I already said how I feel in the podcast.
So wait, are we referring to the actual video or his comments that he hit back with next day?
We're gonna talk about the actual video first, then we'll talk about that.
Okay. I told you I tuned him out. I'm sorry.
Well, when he was talking, like at the point where he was like bitches and hoes, how did you feel about that? Were you insulted?
You came from a woman. How can you sit here and insult a female unless you're insulting your own parent? But it's just like I said, you had nothing positive, no type. And I get you was hurt. You some female must have hurt you real bad for you to be in that place, or whatever the case may be. But he had to understand, just like you done been hurt and burned in your relationship. I already said hi. Everybody's done been there in some aspect of their life. You're not the only one that been hurt, but you don't see us coming on, basically bashing males. And that's the problem. We've always done that. It's always been a male versus a female thing. But now we're in 2020. When are we going to do better? We talk about doing better as a race, but we can't even do better individually as male versus female. Like
within our race.
Are we? Yeah. But we want respect. We want all these different things from the other race, but we can't give it to each other. I'm sorry. Confused.
Yep. I mean, my thing is like there has to be some accountability, which is why I called my podcast Point Blank Period, because the truth is the truth is the truth is the truth. You can't change that. That's what it is. And the thing about it is, when it came to him, he actually had some good points, Katrina.
I will have to go back and watch the video. I'm sorry.
I'm telling you. Okay, so let me tell y'all this, because men say this, and it was annoying me because they said it too. And that's why, because I said this in the other video that we ended up scrapping because we were having technical difficulties. I will say this now. Look, hurt people, and I was hurt watching that video, because here's the thing. We get enough attack from everywhere else. And you mean to tell me that I'm going to get attacked here on a podcast where we're supposed to be finding people who love Black women? Right. What the fuck? Right. What's happening now? Like, the irony. Like, if that itself is not an analogy for how we're treated by Black men, I don't know what it is. This is a perfect example.
And to me, it's more so of it's a generation curse. Like, you can tell, like, this was what he talked about. Looks like that was his speaking love language in his past, like as his growing up. Like, this is how they talk, or whatever, in the case may be. But at some point, we got to stop it. Like,
Tiffany brings a good point. Like, so as women, we've always been taught to judge each other, to attack each other in the whole nine. One of my biggest problems with that podcast
definitely
also was the fact that when it came time to interrupt people, it didn't happen the way it should have happened. Because when, like, no hate against New York dude, that I'm calling you New York dude because I ain't trying to put you on blast. But I say it with respect because I'm trying to keep your anonymity. Because we had a conversation after that, and like, it was a way better conversation than watching his representative. His representative was hella hurt. But what should have happened was, hey, brother, I get you trying to express yourself and you have your way of expressing yourself, but this here is about positivity. I mean, outside of it not being about this topic, this here is about positivity. There are ladies on the line. Your core audience is women, Black women, and your core audience is getting beat. And the fact that you couldn't even acknowledge that, and I say you, I'm not talking about Willie, because actually Willie he knew what was full happening, and he's like, this is bad. Eric, I don't feel like there was accountability on his part to acknowledge what was actually happening. Right. I don't think there was. I think he had a privileged position of being a man.
It was more so he felt there was nothing wrong with it because that's probably a regular conversation when a male have with another male, which is whatever. But when you go in public and you're having different people viewing your conversation, have some respect. Like, come on now.
Well, I mean, I would take it even further. Maybe you need to change how you talk to even behind closed doors. That's crazy. I talk the way I talk all the time.
Right.
I don't fix how I say stuff. If I can't have respect for you, like, I don't need to see, like you need to look at that. Again, New York dude, me and him ain't got no beef. He said how he felt. His experiences are his experiences. He just happened to come on a show that is about uplifting all things Black, or it's supposed to be. It didn't end up being that. And through and he aided in that fact that it wasn't a part of that. He aided in a major way. But that being said, you know what? I will say this. What I respected about him he had no problem calling people out when what he felt like they were doing was wrong.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like I made some notes, but since everything blew up with the first video, but one of the main things that stuck with me was when the Sanford and Son dude Lamont was talking about I ain't shit. Okay, anyway, so when he was talking about how women, his woman can't be jealous if somebody slide in his DMs because that's what people do. He know he with her, and that's all that matters, right?
Mm-hmm.
New York dude was real about it. He was like, "Yo, no, that's wrong. If you respect her, respect her.
Mm-hmm.
What you doing is foul." Now, me personally, I don't necessarily agree with New York dude on this, but I respect it. Because you know what he did? He called dude out on his behavior. And he said that he was trying to put, there was another thing he said that I liked. And we missed it because let me be clear. We were not wrong for missing his message. You cannot try to give somebody a message after you dot their I's. You verbally assaulted us. You can't give us a message. It just can't happen. Healing has to happen before we can get the message. So that's like, let's keep it 100. Like, that's one of the things the guys were saying. Well, you didn't hear everything he had to say. I'm not going to hear everything he got to say. You know why? Because he dotted my I's with bitches. And like, now I'm sitting here listening to I'm like thinking of all the women on this podcast who will watch this podcast, or maybe who won't watch it, but the men who will and will agree and take that information on and share it with the world. Like, that's what I'm thinking about. I'm not listening to what he said, but one of the things he did say, mad respect. He said, look, there are a lot of there's a lot of flagrant dudes out in these streets. And these Warren said that, sorry. Warren, the one who's my favorite out of the three.
The first one came on. Okay.
Huh?
Go ahead.
I don't remember. So Warren said that these women are giving all of themselves to relationships, but you have to be careful because there's some dudes who will just take it and just leave you broken. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yo, finally somebody says something
right
that ain't just about bashing women. Some helpful gems, whatever. Again, we couldn't hear that because we was assaulted with anger and name calling and all this other stuff. But he did say that. Warren said that, and then New York dude followed up. Khalil is his name. Followed up with because I'm already saying everybody else's name. Khalil followed up with something that was real. Khalil said this. He said, I tell dudes this, like his homeboys. He told them this. He said, look, he has a hierarchy for how he sees women. By the way, he says, look, you have a woman there. She's just acting like a female right now. Mm-hmm. Because she's been hurt and she's been damaged. You're gonna have to remember that while you didn't cause the hurt, one of us did, and we're gonna have to love her past that hurt. Right. He said that.
Right.
And I was like, shit, he said that? Where did I miss it?
I didn't get it either.
Yo.
I know another thing that they did say was kept hitting on the point of us females need to learn how to heal our men and be there for them. But how can we can heal y'all, like you said again, if y'all putting us on blast and disrespecting us, and y'all really some men is not willing to heal these women of the hurts that they went through. The first thing come out of a man's mouth is, oh, you damaged, and I didn't do it, and go about their business, versus understanding where that person came from. And
but here's the thing, like, and not to be like my father about this, but you can go and try to find you the shiniest fruit ever. That don't mean it's sweet.
Exactly.
You have like them bruised ones are the ones that be the best ones. And my thing is this, and that's what we're going to talk about moving forward. How to have a healthy relationship and be damaged. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. Because I feel like that can happen. And so I brought that topic to my sister, and she's like, how do you do that?
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm here.
So here's my thoughts when it comes to this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I can introduce my WAP philosophy again, right? I'm gonna introduce my WAP philosophy, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is my WAP philosophy, y'all ask? I'm glad y'all asked. Well, WAP is withholding judgment, accepting accountability, and praising the positive, right? Now, praising the positive also means pointing out the negative as well. But that is the WAP philosophy. Okay. So that being said, here's the thing. You can go into a relationship with somebody and have a perfectly healthy relationship if you utilize that. You have to be honest with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be honest with yourself and say, where are you in life? Right? What are your current hangups or things like boundary crossing things like deal breakers or things that just like irk you, like that just like it hurts to deal with. You have to identify those things within yourself, right?
Right.
Then you have to identify how those things affect how you come in contact with people. For example, one of my main things is I care way too much. I care way too much when I get involved with people. Like if I see them hurting, I'm hurting. Right. So I'm going to try to help them out of that. Yeah. And so because of that, sometimes people have taken advantage of me to the point where now I'm like very cautious. And I say now, but not right now, because I use this philosophy when I deal with people, because past hurts don't go away.
No.
It's always there. You break a bone, the bone sets, but that's always a weak point. That's just what it is. We have to keep this 100. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to say this bone is perfectly fine. I'm not going to say I'm perfectly fine. I'm going to walk into a relationship, and if they need help, the first thing I'm thinking is, fuck, I'm going to lose all of me trying to help this person, and I don't want to do it. Like, I'm not going to lie to you and say that doesn't happen. But what I do know is I know that that is a thing that I have to deal with, right? Mm-hmm. So now I'm taking that assessment of what happens. Now I'm taking the responsible portion of it to where it's, okay, how do I respond when this thing happens? Right? And now I'm talking to my partner about that. From that point on, it's about finding somebody that you trust and that trusts you and that you're going to have that open dialogue where y'all can say, this is like exposing veins. It's about exposing veins, right? And keep in mind, New Orleans people ain't really good at exposing veins because that's just a bullet in the chamber that we'll use later. Like, I get it, but we have to we have to get to next level shit. The next level shit is not about us being enemies or us being us against them. It's about us being us, which means we're gonna have to expose our vulnerabilities and we're gonna have to take it to the next level and figure those things out. I'm gonna always be the kind of person that will be scared to care too much, because it hurts when you give and give and give and they just take and then they walk away. I'm gonna always be that person. Right. But knowing that, it's like it's no different than being an alcoholic. Like, that's that drug of choice. My drug of choice is my heart. So it is what it is, but I can protect myself in ways of understanding what happens. Mm-hmm. So what happens with men, right? Like, and I'm generalizing here. What happens with men? They don't like exposing veins. They don't like it. They've never been taught to. Right. They don't reinforce that knowledge. Even in that dialogue, in that podcast, it was like, I'm a man. But then it was like, but I have feelings. You can't do both. You can't be a hardcore nigga who cries. No, you're just a person, and it's okay that you experience these things, but you can't. You have to. So for you to find somebody, right? Here's the thing: like attracts like. Mm-hmm. If you're finding somebody who's like not like, if you're having these awful relationships, because there's something in you that attracts that awful relationship. Mm-hmm. So you have to be willing to acknowledge that you played a part in the demise of your relationship by the choices you made. Right. Men. Accountability. I'm sorry. Accountability. It's about WAP. Accountability. Accepting accountability. Wow. We got that good WAP over here.
Cardi B gonna get you.
I know. I love you, Cardi B. Cardi B is my hero. I love her. Like, that's my hero. So the problem with men, men the problem with accepting accountability means that you also have to be able to heal your own wounds.
Mm-hmm.
You can't accept nobody. You can't expect nobody to heal your wounds.
That's not possible.
Not at all. You can find somebody who, we can put band-aids on stuff all day long, but that's not our wound to heal. It's yours. So when I hear, and I've heard this multiple times, men say, oh, she helps me do this. Y'all have to be this. Y'all have to care about us. We're hurting, women. Y'all got to do this. No, we don't. We don't. What we have to do is heal ourselves. We have to find something healing within ourselves. So when you heal yourself, we can have it. That is right. But I'm not going to heal me and then heal you and then go. And then when you get healed, now keep in mind, like attracts like. So if you sitting there messing with this dude and this dude's messing with you, upgrading him will upgrade him away from you.
Exactly.
And that's not to say you can't love somebody and give them stuff, but sorry, it's not your job, women. And I say that with all the love in my heart. I want people to do well. I want them to do it, but it ain't my job to make them do well. It's their job to do well by themselves.
Right.
And that's men and women alike. And so the accountability for me in that conversation that we saw was lacking in that regard, because everybody kept talking about, like, the funny part about it is men complain about women wanting to be fixed, like wanting to be upgraded financially and whatever, but then they want to be upgraded emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
How does that work? How do you justify, like, I'm gonna let you talk for a second, but I want to say this and think about this, everybody. When you live in an environment where you're constantly lying to yourself, that in itself is a form of insanity.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't, like, if you can't be real with yourself about the fact that this is what the situation is, you're going to be trying to tell people your lie. And eventually, your mind can't grasp that this is the lie. You're going to try to make it true, but it can't be true because you know deep down it isn't. And that's how insanity comes about.
Mm-hmm.
So there are all these people walking around thinking, I love you, that's my lady, and then cheating on her and putting her body at risk and taking her choice away. Now, let me be clear. I'm an advocate for people who need to have multiple partners, to let your partner know you need to have multiple partners. I'm very much so an advocate for that, and I don't see anything wrong with it. That being said, I am not an advocate for taking people's choices away. So I'm stopping. And Katrina, tell me what your thoughts.
Well, what you were stating about being an advocate and healing other people. Like I said, we all have our issues. Everybody comes to a table with baggage, whether it's hurt from their past relationships or hurt from what happened in their upbringings. Everybody comes to the table with it. I personally, I know I had to deal with what I was dealing with as far as in my past relationships before I can work on being the better person for the person I'm with now. I had to identify what my problem was and what I can say that ticks me off and change my whole demeanor as a person. So, and I, me and my fiance, we talk about this to the day, like certain stuff I know that can, if he does, if he doesn't before coming with it, I know that changed who I am and how I handle the situation with him or address him. So it's just basically being honest with yourself, knowing yourself, being honest with the person that you're with. So, I mean, you said the whole thing
and being
about
supportive.
Right. So
that takes a lot to come to your partner and say, this is the problem.
Mm-hmm.
And not say it's the problem, you got to fix it. Just say, this is the problem.
Right.
And I find that most people think just because you do the first step of telling people this is the problem, that they think the next step is you got to deal with their problem.
Right.
It's not the case at all. Like I always say this. I hate apologies. I hate apologies. I hate apologies because people are so quick to say I'm sorry and put no action behind it. The only way you are sorry if you are willing to change your action.
Don't return to doing it.
Otherwise, keep it 10 toes down. Don't do it. Don't say that. And it irks me about that. I am a proponent of counseling. I'm a proponent of good mental health.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like because so Katrina, stop me if you heard this, or I'm telling this to the world anyway. There's this thing called Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what it talks about is it's like this building block of things, right? So at the top is like ultimate, because the Black community as a whole is tends to be in poverty. Poverty is the only thing we know.
Right.
That's the only thing we know. That's the only thing we're trying to address poverty. You can't tell me to feel better about, you can't tell me to go do yoga and work on my inner chi if I'm trying to figure out how I'm gonna eat tomorrow. It just can't happen. Mm-hmm. And so that's what Maslow's hierarchy of needs states. It states that you can't do anything until you take care of your basic needs. Mm-hmm. That's all it says. And so we can't look at our emotional stability because we're trying to take care of our financial stability. We're trying to take care of our kids. We're trying to take care of having a place to stay. Mm-hmm. Those kind of things. We can't look at the next step because we're too busy in this step. But you don't have to, because I mean, I'm sorry, therapy is expensive. That's like a $125 a session. At least.
And that's on the low side. That's going to the hood.
Yeah, that's shopping around for it. And that's not even saying
you're gonna get the best of that.
I pay $125, but mine is good. Mine is real good. I think he just don't know his work. Mine is real good. But outside of that, I ain't got $125 a session. Like, honestly, I'm still cheap. I'd be running, like, he'd be like, hey, tell me about your day. And then fix it. Fix it all.
We got 20 minutes left. What you could do with that?
Yeah, all of it right now. I'm gonna see you next time.
See you next month.
Yeah, 4 more months. I see you. I'm gonna gather up the rest of that, make a note, give it to you in 20 minutes so we can get it fixed. But I'm not saying if you don't have the money to do that, fine. Mm-hmm. You can change. You can, like, books are free.
All right.
Right? There are books that are free. They're like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. That's a topic you can look up online. Mm-hmm. And that in itself, talking about those things, will let you understand where you're currently at. Because this is the way you look at that Maslow's, MASLOV. My pronunciation of things is sucking right now, but that's what it is. If you look it up, this is how you know where you're at. Looking at that hierarchy of needs, right? If you say, I don't have time to do that, you're here. You're the step below, right? The thing that is taking your time up, that's what matters to you. Mm-hmm. You won't have time for these things. And I will offer this, right? If you can, try to read up on these things. They're free. Like, reading up on it is free. You may be here. You might be trying to make sure you get food so you can support your kids and all this other stuff. But finding out how to get emotional alignment, how to get a happiness within yourself, that's important.
Once you fix yourself and make you a better you, then you can focus on the other aspects.
Yeah. It makes it a lot easier to receive it.
Mm-hmm.
One of the other things I noticed too, in the conversation with the guys, they were talking about how, one guy made this reference about how these women having kids, And I'm like, I don't have any kids. I purposely made that decision. And then, luck of the draw and condoms took care of the rest. But my thing is this, and I don't have, like, I'm not offended for me. I'm just offended because there was not one person in that group of people who didn't have kids. So how dare you judge a single parent? Nobody, I don't think anybody said they was married in the three. Nobody said I married that girl.
Right.
Maybe Sanford and Son, maybe he married.
Maybe. Because he said he was in there for like
12, 13 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he didn't say anything, so I'm not holding that against him. He didn't nod or anything when that dude said that. He didn't. Actually, nobody not, well, no, that's not true. Eric, he expounded on his statement, but nobody else did. Willie looked off. He's like, Lord, like nobody else expounded except Eric expounded on the statement. But when he said that, it offended me because how dare you? One, you don't know what it's like. You don't know what it's like to be a female at all. To be a female and to try to bond with people. First off, let's keep it 100. Every single dude knows they done seen their whole high school life was watching dudes scope chicks to try to fuck them and tell them everything they need to do. And then you'd have these perfectly good girls who they was just naive, getting scammed on. You know full well that that's what it's like from your perspective. Picture being a female. Picture being a female where you're sitting there, every move you make, you're judged. Like if you don't put out, you're teased. If you do put out, you're a slut.
Right.
If you're too smart, you think you're better than people. If you're not smart enough, they need somebody better than that. And I'm not even talking about the physical aesthetics of being a female. I don't even talk about that. I'm just talking about just the general understanding of how female lives their life. And you are adding to that pain because you're sitting there saying this woman is spreading her legs for everybody and having kids. Really? One, you don't know that. And the analogy he was talking about, because the girl shut somebody down, he's like, you probably got 10 kids at home. Why are you doing that?
Because that's the only way he can feel like he could come at somebody by hurting your feelings. But like you said, like, that's crazy. That's crazy, the statement that he made. It's just crazy in a nutshell.
And it's hurtful. Because my thing is this, I want to read these comments when I get to, because Tiffany's putting some good points in the comments. We have gotten to the point where we've accepted so much of of the responsibility on us, which is not on us. And we need to take that shit off our shoulders. That they've gaslighted us so much that now we believe it's true. And then they believe it's true because we believe it's true. So that offended me because of that. Like, I'm like, you don't know. And honestly, I don't know. I've only been a kid. I don't know what it's like to be a parent. So
obviously they don't either. I'm just saying. You don't. If you can make that judgment so comfortably, you're really not a parent. And I done went on a couple of, I want to say all the guys' profile pictures, and each one of them guys have kids. So for you to make a statement like that,
explain what it's like to be female and have kids. Because here's the thing. I want to say this. My sister had her kids, and I'm saying this from the standpoint of, and Katrina, correct me if I'm wrong, luckily, she was married to the man she had her kids with. And then she's about to marry the man she has other kids with. So it's not like she had multiple kids. Like, I feel like that fact gets you more respect, right?
Right.
Like, do you feel relief that that's the case?
I mean, men look at it, oh, she got these multiple kids and this and that and that. I don't even zone in, oh, I have, my previous relationships and my kids that came from those relationships, because at the end of the day, who are you to judge me when you're not paying out one bill in my house, when you're probably not even paying a bill in your kid's house? So for you, like I said, that doesn't offend me because I know where I came from and I know where I'm at right now in life. And 5 kids, I'm not hurting at all. Prior to even me being in a relationship, I'm not hurting. So,
but
the sacrifices that needed to be made for those kids, come on. But you want to know the honest opinion to me? I feel good by doing the stuff I do for my kids. I'm able to sacrifice, and I'll be willing to sacrifice until I close my eyes, because that's what I made that decision, conscious decision. No, I didn't do it by myself, but I'm going to stand by it because at the end of the day, it makes me feel good when I see my kids smiling and doing stuff that they want to do, even though they work my nerve. But they, I would never change that for nothing. Even the person that I had my 3 kids with, everybody, I mean, that was just a bump in the road. But I had 3 beautiful kids from that situation. So I guess I wouldn't change that aspect either.
They are awesome. And that's my thing. Like, here's the thing. Here's the other thing I want to say. And this irks me beyond belief. And this is why it irks me. My dad worked 2 and 3 jobs to make sure he paid child support. Not child support with the court order, but more, so we can have what we needed to have, because we were his responsibility too. I'm not trying to get people, guys have gotten to the point where they, one, cape for each other. We'll talk about that. They cape for each other so bad that when this person got to pay child support, it's like, you got to pay it. You ain't coming out of the pocket. You don't know their situation. You don't know what's going on. You don't know if their child has special needs. You don't know what's happening, and you don't care.
And to chime in on that, I still have yet, of all my 35 years of being on this earth, don't understand why it's like a man would rather for you to beat their ass before you put them on child support. They done with you. You can cheat on them, you can lie to them, you can do all that stuff. But the moment you put them on child support, I don't have no more words for you. We're done. You're the devil. Like, I'm the devil because I'm making you do something that you're supposed to be doing voluntarily.
And here's my thing. I had a friend of mine, she's a female. I don't believe in this, but I ain't got no kids. Mm-hmm. That's an important statement I'm going to make. This is just an idea for me. This ain't my reality. Katrina, you can speak to it. I had a friend of mine, she had a son. Her son's father never paid no child support, right? Mm-hmm. And she said she was okay with that because as long as he would take the kid, at least he got to spend time with his father. Mm-hmm. I said, fuck that. Because you can't, like, it's okay. It's different if your finances are funny, right? Right. If you can't afford it, fuck it, get another job. No, I stand on it. Right. I stand on it. Because you know what she had to do? Get another job. Get a job. So why are you better than me? And I got to make sure this thing is living and thriving so he can be somebody someday.
And at the day that they graduate from college and become that somebody and sign that sign-on bonus at their job, that daddy gonna act like they had something to do with that child being who he is today.
No. And it's not even a not fair. It sucks, right? Being young and Black and poor, right? All of those things suck, right? And then this preconceived notion that we're being pushed upon when it comes to how we're supposed to live our lives, all that shit sucks. About how men can't ever cry or all this stuff. All that shit sucks. I'm not saying it doesn't suck, but I'm saying that if it sucked for you, why would you create the next generation? That's the part that I don't understand. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that about those gentlemen. None of those gentlemen said that. All those gentlemen seemed like they were great fathers. Because I went on their page, I looked at the look, they look like they love their children. I have nothing to say. I don't know their situation. I hope they are great fathers. I can't deal with her. I can't do it. But they were. I did look because I was like, that was good. Right? But you came from a woman.
Respect.
Like Tupac got your name from a woman. Like we're here, and not we as in me because I don't have any kids, but we're here and we stayed, and yet we are beat up for staying.
Mm-hmm.
How's that fair?
Mm-hmm.
And if the roles and what you want from us, you want our support, you want our loyalty, you want us to follow you. And here, we'll talk about that another day. I can't unpack that right now. But what I will say is this: if you want all of those things, going by the WAP philosophy that I outlined, what are you giving? What are you giving to the situation to make you worthy of receiving that?
Just imagine if you uplift your woman and do right by her, how better, and put her in a better position and put her on that high pedestal. How easy, how much willing that a woman will be to do all those things that you are looking for with no problem at all. So
Happily. Because I mean, like, I can't. So understand this, right? Are there garbage females? Yes. Are there garbage men? Yes. They're just garbage people who exist in this world. There are. And I'm saying garbage from the standpoint of some people are just that. They could have the best upbringing in the world and still be trash.
right.
But some people weren't taught how to properly have relationships.
Mm-hmm.
So I get that. I'm not saying it's your job to teach them either. For somebody to be taught, they got to be willing to learn. I'm not saying that.
Right.
I'm saying this. Who are you in that? Because you treat somebody like, okay, we'll talk about relationships and we'll talk about how to properly, like, I just want to touch on how to have a healthy relationship and still be damaged, right? But rules of engagement is a whole different topic when it comes to relationships, and it's an important topic. How do you engage each other? How do you find your partner and those kind of things? We're going to talk about that another day. I just want to touch on this stuff. And I just wanted to also say that Khalil came back to the comments. And you know what I give Katrina? I give him respect about. And then I'm going to read the comments. I give him mad respect because we were coming for his neck. We was coming. And I say we, I mean I was too. I got on camera and I came for his neck. It was mad disrespectful.
I was restricted to come for his neck. So,
huh? You restricted. But I mean, again, her people and I what I honor about this gentleman at that point is he could have looked in that comments and been like, FUB, da 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 da. Yeah. Not one time. Not one time. He ain't called nobody, nothing. Nobody got the child that got being called out, none of that stuff. He had conversations.
Yeah.
I wish that he could have had that conversation earlier. Yeah. Yeah. Because, I mean, yeah, I do. But I'm glad it happened nevertheless because it sparked dialogue and it sparked this conversation as well. And I hope he finds somebody. I hope he heals. He acknowledges his own triggers and heals. Not healing does not mean you're fixed. I just want to be clear about that. Nobody's fixed. We all have damaged parts. Of course. But if you heal from those damages, meaning that you understand that this is it, this is what's happening, this is what happens when you do this, da 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 da, and you meet somebody, and if that person triggers your healed parts, that person probably ain't right for you. That's what happened to me. That's what like literally I got in contact with somebody and I just couldn't figure out why I kept feeling like what I was feeling and all this other stuff. And I was just going through chaos internally. And then I realized this ain't right for me. You finally found a way to heal this and you picking at the scab. Nah, don't do that. Leave it alone. Everybody ain't for you. And sometimes it's okay to be alone. So you find somebody, like I'd rather be alone and find somebody who fixes me. I mean, not fixes me, who fits me is what I want to say. who fits me so I don't feel like I have to change who I am. Not the change is good if it's the positive.
Right.
Somebody who I don't feel insecure around, right? Insecurities aren't their fault, but that's a you thing. That means that there's something you still need to work on. Those kind of stuff. So that's what I have. I do. I would like to play. So I have this game. All right. So there's a sheet of paper. I'm gonna fold it and I'm gonna put it in one of my hands. And you're gonna pick right or left, and whichever one you pick, you get to choose which you want to be, the angel or the devil, and giving advice. Okay.
Do I get some money out this situation?
No. The rules are, though, it has to be good advice, right?
Even if I'm the devil?
Yes.
I never heard the devil give good advice. Okay.
I always give good devil. Like, we're keeping it real. It might be hood advice, but it's good advice. Okay. Right? There's responsible adult advice, and there's you got to make it through the day advice, right? Like, I used to do life coaching, right? And my life coaching philosophy was not about doing the right thing. It was getting you through the moment. Mm-hmm. All right. So that's what I'm designing that devil one for. Get you through the moment, or do the right thing for the duration. Okay.
How much can you put in your comments how much you charge for your life coaching as well, ma'am?
How much do I charge?
How much you charge for life
coaching? I don't do it anymore because I just can't. I care too much. I just can't. And my life is, I'm busy. I'm busy.
I like being nosy.
Oh, you just want to know how much I charge?
No. I like being nosy. I'll do that. And to help, I'm not gonna say I wouldn't be able to do it for helping purposes. So go ahead.
Okay. All right, we have a gentleman. All right, in the story, the gentleman went by this lady's house. He was dating for a second. The girl lives with her parents. She wanted to have sex. Okay. He came to the house to go have sex with her. He found one of her toys, right? And she's like, "Oh, I just found this." Yeah, they're 22, by the way. So he was a little taken aback that she had a toy, but he still smashed. The next morning, he does a walk of shame and he sees her father. Mm-hmm. Her father looks pissed and he just keeps walking because ain't nothing you can say other than nothing, because you smashed her daughter in the house and he probably heard all of it. Okay. So the father puts her out the house. Mm-hmm. And she tells him that she needs a place to stay now, and she's like, "Hey, I'm gonna move in with my 2 male co-workers. Is that okay?" Now he's trying to decide if he wants to be with her because he thinks that she's flagrant. You're going to give advice to the female in this story and to the male in the story. All right. Now you pick right or left.
Left.
Right. All right. So I am going to pick Angel.
Oh, Lord.
And I'm going to allow you go first and give the advice.
Who I'm giving advice to? Can I give it to the male?
You can.
Okay. So he has a problem with her being under the roof of 2 male friends, right? Mm-hmm. So I can ask a question before I offer this advice. Where does he live at? Who does he live with?
He did not say. I assume he lives at home too. This is why I assume it. One, why go over to her house to smash if you have a whole house by yourself?
Okay, we're giving
And
advice.
two, okay.
Okay. So, if he's living with somebody, I mean, it's kind of hard to sit here and say, because if he was living with somebody, depending on if he's living at home with mom or dad, but we're grown at the same token, so we're not kids. So if you really, really cared about her and her well-being, when she got put out the house for indulging in sexual behaviors with you, you should have felt more so obligated to sit here, at least sit here and offer to, once you come over here. If you don't have that option, then y'all need to figure out what y'all need to do together to go into a place of your own where you don't have to worry about her being under the roof of another male. What is there to do? Like, she's homeless and these people open their doors to her. You didn't open your door to her, so of course she's picking herself over you at that present time because her well-being is more important to her than it is to you. So I feel like you need to put that part of your insecurity aside, because that's what you're worrying about as far as her being under the roof with other males, and focus on her well-being. And if you really cared about her, you'll put yourself in a position where you'll be able to assist her in the longer run, and she won't have to be in that situation where she's at right now.
I feel like you took the angel because I feel like mine ain't shit.
What?
My advice to her is, I'll take her then. My advice to her is this: any man that you make poor decisions like doing this with somebody at the sacrifice of your own stability, ain't it? That ain't it for you. If you can't tell him you a freak and you like a little vibration, if you have to ask him for permission to go move in somewhere where he didn't even volunteer to help you with your problems, he ain't it. And the one thing you need to realize, woman, is a man's going to respect you and love you as much as you respect and love yourself. Like they will or they will never at all. And so he did everything. He did just as much as he was willing to do. He was willing to go to your house and smash you in your bed, look at you with judgment about the toy, do a walk of shame. You didn't even want to go out the window or something like that. Just do a walk of shame by the dad, not even
care.
Like,
you ain't my dad.
Like, clearly he's showing his care as much as you showing care for yourself, and you don't care. You don't care. And you need to start loving yourself a little bit more. Like, shit, go in the car and get it in. But you sitting here messing the bag up.
I didn't have a car.
Oh. He had to. You don't just smash and dash like that. He had to have a car.
Got on the bus.
Yeah, maybe it was in the city. I don't know. Well there's always places to do it. There's always places to do it. Okay?
Allie.
He fell asleep. He should have just got up and left.
Thank you.
But I will say,
again, you gotta have whole accountability. I would have got you up.
Yeah. Oh no.
It ain't that type of party. Mwah. Talk to you later. Let me know when you make it home.
So that's my advice. Love yourself more than you allowing this person to show up for you, because how he's doing it is a mirror for how you care about yourself.
Yeah, of course. Of course. So
I feel like mine was ain't shit. And yours is like way more responsible. I'm like, use that vibrator.
I was trying not to get ratchet because it's a lot of aspects that she should have, like key points that I would have asked on her part. Was she honest with him? Did he know that her dad wouldn't plan that as far as no male sleeping over or no male smashing in the house? There's a lot of key points to that whole story that I would have inquired more about. Like it was even. I mean, I'm pretty sure even if he was aware, he wouldn't have cared. if
I don't think he would, but
he didn't. Based on his reaction of where her stand with somebody else, he didn't care. He didn't care. He was ready to get his rocks off, and that was the moral of the story. He didn't care. But he probably have a whole girl at home or wife.
No, he didn't. He said he really liked her. That's a whole different conversation. How men show they care and whatever, but he said he really liked her.
He liked her to a point where.
But the fact that she was too sexual.
She was too sexual for him.
Well, he thought because she enjoyed sex, because she had a toy.
Why is the men threatened behind toys? That's what I want to know. Like, why threat?
But they're so threatened to the point that women don't want to use them, and toys are fine ladies.
Oh, I'm going to leave it alone.
No.
We're live.
I'll say it. Toys are fun ladies. And we'll talk about that another day. I'm good. I enjoyed this conversation. We had technical difficulties, but I really enjoyed this conversation.
We definitely had technical difficulties.
Huh?
Oh, you said 2 did have a daughter. You was responding.
Yeah, 2 of them did have daughters. And like I said, I stand by. They seem like good fathers. They at least, they didn't seem like the other guy. I take care of my seed. They didn't seem like that. They seemed like they were good fathers. Like they knew their kids' names and their birthdays and stuff. So
maybe not their birthdays.
No, they seemed like they knew their kids' birthdays. I'm just saying, like they really did seem like they were good fathers. All of them did. And those things can be autonomous. You can be a good father and just not.
That was kind of funny. That was kind of funny that you brought up that about the child support and the whole situation. You remember what I was telling you about yesterday about the story about the guy made they made a post about child support, and a lot of guys jumped in on the post. But it was just one guy.
Oh, we're gonna talk about child support another day because that's involved, and that was a funny story. That's the same shit. She's a troller. She's a professional.
I love going on people's page and looking at posts. I look for the most ironic and the most thrown off individual and comment under their posts.
I don't have energy to be a troller that hard. She trolls hard.
Because it's under my post. Like I'm in the group. So once they I pick and choose the topic. If the topic's boring, then I go on with my day. But the topic was kind of interesting.
Tiffany's a professional troller too, by the way. That one right there is a pro. She's a troller. Let me say some of the comments that she said before I'm saying this because I'm messy. She said, men share their WAP opinions with other men who share that opinion. They're speaking into echo chamber. That's why they struggle to consider others' perspective. I'm glad I read that.
I agree.
I agree wholeheartedly. Or the fact that they sit there and watch people say stuff that's flagrant and then they don't say anything. And by that standard, you agree by not saying anything at all. So I have a problem with that component of things too, because it's like we have to start correcting behavior. And there's positive and polite ways to do this. We have to start correcting it. Because here's my thing. For all the things that I wasn't proud of myself for, I stood 10 toes down in what I said. I really believe in what I said. But for all the things I wasn't proud of, the one thing I was proud of was my ability to see past my own vagina and correct this young lady when she was wrongful with the statement she made. And that's why I respect Khalil, because Khalil was like, hey, no, you're wrong for this. Like being able to address people and saying they're wrong is important. Not to fight them, not to whatever, and not even to say they're wrong. Give your perspective.
Right.
You don't got to be like you're wrong.
Right.
But people just sit back and watch this stuff happen. But when I want to say this, Katrina, you won't gas me. You'll tell me when I'm wrong. How many times did they try to interrupt me when I was giving my perspective? And I say they. I just meant one.
One person. I'm about to say he didn't. He didn't interrupt you. He took it to the chest. He took it to the chest.
One. I really just meant one. I was trying to be fair by not pointing.
Just be honest. We're being 100, right?
We are being 100. So one of the hosts was like literally the whole time Khalil was saying his stuff about me,
Nobody interrupted
the
him.
douche, bitches and hoes, not waxing and all this other stuff. Not coming for you, Khalil, because like I said, you cleared it up in the comments. You good with me. He friend requested me, and I accepted his friend request because I'm like, look, we can all grow and learn. Like, I mean, like I said, the dude, I don't agree with all of his philosophies, but I know he's a thinking man. Mm-hmm. Remind me to show you the 5 points of consciousness that he said. That shit was awesome. Mm-hmm. I don't agree with that, but I will say this: when it came time, nobody interrupted him. Mm-hmm. Not true. Willie did.
Oh yeah, he did. He tried to get on track a couple of times.
He tried multiple times.
He tried to get on track
multiple times.
He's like, but he was so focused on the conversation. Like, I have a short-term memory, so once you interrupt me, I lose it. No. Yeah. Willie didn't get it.
No. Okay. That was Willie. Mm-hmm. Whereas Eric was like, hey, Khalil, say some more stuff. Mm-hmm. I want to hear some more.
What do you think about it? Enlighten me.
So, but Willie did do that. Mm-hmm. I apologize. Willie did try to interrupt.
He did. He tried to actually get it off that subject and change the subject on multiple times. So I can't take it away from him. It just went right back. Because I think his co-host had helped him get back to the conversation that was at hand after Willie said, okay, well, let's talk about this.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. It's funny to me. So, okay. That's still funny to me. Anyway, so, but when it came time for me to talk, it was like, excuse me, pardon me, I got a thing to say, and so let me say this too, separate. I didn't give Willie an opportunity to get a word in, and I was wrong for that, right? But the reason why I gave him an opportunity to get a word in is because Eric kept saying stuff, and he was letting Eric slide in with stuff, and then I couldn't let those things he was sliding in with sit. Like, nah. I'm not gonna let, nah. So I say I like to say, yes, they were right. We didn't hear everything that was being said. Yes, we were right. We weren't gonna hear it because we were being attacked. Yes, we were right. Y'all need to look at what y'all are doing and stop excusing y'all behavior. And finding a way to excuse it and make it better. And yes, we are right that y'all give more difference to men in their opinions than you do to women in theirs. That's it, in those videos. Y'all should watch the video. It was really entertaining. It was a lot of information. It was actually a lot of good information outside of the abrasiveness of initial comments. That's all I have. One more thing I want to say. My favorite is when they said women choose bad men, as if them being bad men is not a problem. As if we're not natural healers and they don't have responsibility to do better. We don't choose bad. I can't see the full comment. Katrina. Your page is locked, by the way. I disagree. We choose what mirrors us.
I do agree.
So if we choose bad, like, because there was a time I loved me a little thug.
We want what we want.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing why they were piggybacking off on the type of females they ended up with. They ended up with the people that they attract. Mm-hmm. At some point of them, they attracted something about, they was looking at certain aspects of a female, of what they, whether their features or whatever, and it wasn't worrying about past that at that time. So
yeah,
they got what they got.
And you got to take that lick.
You got to
take that lick. I had to take that lick. You have to take that lick. Why they can't take that lick? Take that lick. You got what you wanted. You got the life that you wanted.
Now, if you want something different, you got to look for different qualities and stuff in a female, not just a person with a big butt and some big breasts or whatever. No, you gotta look past that.
Like I told
See
you.
what you got with those females, right? Not to say females with big butt and big breasts don't have nothing to bring nothing to the table.
They don't. I ain't got no big breath. I do
You
have
got
big.
huge.
I do have nice tatas. Never mind. Y'all are lovely people.
Yeah, and you have a brain on your shoulders. I mean, a head on your shoulders. So,
but if you shoot first with a physical, you can't be mad when you don't get your emotional or your financial or you know what I mean. That's what we're
they
trying.
don't meet your those standards. They meet one aspect of what you're looking for, but they don't meet the other. And the other, what you're looking for, is the most important part because the titties will start to sag, fellas.
You can buy titties. They buying ass.
Miami, $3,500.
What? I'm not suggesting you do that at all. But I will say this. It's easier to make a smart person fine. It's harder to make a fine person smart. Done. That's it. So, you know, and if you wait, a lot of people, like a lot of flowers don't bloom till late anyway. So.
Trust me, I know.
Oh, Lord. Anyway, that's all I got. That really is all I got. I mean, we can talk about stuff. I did enjoy this conversation with my sister and with my cousin online. I did enjoy this. And we're going to do this again.
Point blank, period.
Ooh, point blank, period. That WAP. All right, y'all. Y'all take care.
Y'all be easy.